Inspector General of Police Egbetokun said Tinubu transformed his life 24 hours after meeting him. You are welcome to Newsroom Nigeria. You do well to subscribe to get the latest news happenings around the world and some local news we have in Nigeria. IGP Egbetokun: Tinubu transformed my life 24 hours after I met him. The Inspector General of Police, Dr. Kayode Egbetokun, has said that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu transformed his life in 1998 within 24 hours when he met him as a young officer, noting that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made a significant impact on his life and career. Egbetokun, who made this revelation at the unveiling of a book in his honor titled Readings in Policing, Peace and Security, at the Police Conference Center, Abuja. He said, "I thank the Almighty God by whose grace I am alive today to receive this incredible honor. My life and career are a testament to God's infinite mercy. It has been God for me." He said further, "As I am standing here today, my mouth is filled with testimonies. I would have loved to share some of these testimonies, but today is not Thanksgiving Day. I will therefore reserve the details of that for another day. I must, however, acknowledge the significant impact of a particular individual on my life and career. I met President Bola Tinubu in 1998, and that meeting produced a positive transformation in my life within 24 hours. That story is also a testimony that I would like to leave for another day." The Inspector General of Police, Egbetokun, further said the book would serve as a reference material and a source of inspiration for young officers, adding, "The book will not only be a reference material, but it's also going to be an inspiration to the new generation of law enforcement officers in Nigeria." In his remarks, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who was represented by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Senator George Akume, described the book as a fitting tribute to the IG. The president said Egbetokun's dedication to the principles of justice, peace, and security has left an indelible mark on the Nigerian policy landscape, saying, "I stand before you today at this public presentation of a book that embodies both the essence and aspirations of our nation's internal security efforts." When I asked to write the foreword for this remarkable compilation, said by Senator George Akume, representing the presidency, I accepted it without hesitation. This was not merely because of the gravity of the subject. Policing, peace, security at this critical junction in our national experience, but also because of the extraordinary individuals it honors. Disclosing that Egbetokun served diligently when he was the chief security officer during his tenure as the Lagos State Governor, then Tinubu said, "He is a man I have had the privilege to know and work with closely, particularly during my tenure as the Governor of Lagos State, where he served with distinction as my chief security officer." Their efforts have resulted in this anthology of original research and reflective articles and delve deeply into the complex dynamics of internal security management. Egbetokun saying Tinubu transformed his life 24 hours after he met him. This was done publicly at the launching of his book that was recently launched in Abuja, and the president was being represented by George Akume. The Secretary to the Government of the Federation, George Akume, represented the president. For an Inspector General of the Police who is at the apex office of policing in this country, for him to say his life took a turnaround 24 hours immediately after he met the president. To me, it shows that even if the CNC, even if the president gives his own directive that negates and doesn't have a reflection a positive reflection on the livelihood of Nigerians. Either the IGP likes it or not, he has to buy into that idea. We have come to a position in our country that most of the political office holders, many of them didn't get to that position on merit. Many of them had pledged their allegiance. I don't want to use the word as leaking. Many of them had been boys to many political godfathers, and they run helter-skelter, the lobby for positions, so for them to get into power. And the government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has received so many critics, both locally and from the international scene. A lot of people had said there's a lot of nepotism, he had. And if you look at his cabinet, many of the people who are working with him, who are his office, political office holders, who are in his cabinet, are from a particular, majority are from the particular sect, the Yoruba tribe. And this had caused a lot of uprising, a lot of talks, a lot of, even it was a reflection on the body language of the Northern Hemisphere towards the last end bad governance protest that happened in Nigeria. So, and I feel at this point of volatility of the country, for an IGP to come out and say these things, it shows that he pledges his allegiance to the president. And the office he holds, it's a very, very crucial office, which has to do with security. It has to do with security. And the country is so being characterized with a lot of injustice. There's no equity. There's no the principle of checks and balances are not even having their effect, because even the red and green chambers that we have in this country is more like they are rubber stamping whatever policy, whatever the presidency say. In diaspora, when you look at the House of Commons, when you look at the cabinets in US and places like Europe, many countries in Europe, you will see that the principle of checks and balances can really take effect, because we have the liberals, we have the conservative, we have the Democrats, and they don't just rubber stamp whatever the presidency gives. They serves those units of government. They serve as a checks and balances for the excesses of the presidency, because in Nigeria it looks as if whatever the president pushed to the table of the Senate to the House of Reps, with the twinkle of an eye, it has to be approved. And whoever comes up to negate whatever the presidency is saying and talks about this present government, that person we have is or herself to be blamed. It's so obvious. We could see what happened to Abduningi and the other guy from the north, who was removed as the chief whip of the house. So these are the things we need to critically analyze, because for an IGP who holds the apex office of policing in this country to come out and say this, that shows the relationship he has. That shows that for him to be in that position was being chosen based on the fact that he had worked with the presidents before. And you know how it goes in this country. For as long as people who work in strategic offices in this country are being placed based on merit, based on their portfolio, based on their political antecedents, based on their credible reports, that is when we start getting good and sincere government in this country. No wonder he's heading the worst criminal organization on uniform in Nigeria today. Because with the number of insecurity we have, what has been the effect of him coming out to put out a book like that? We saw what happened during the End Bad Governance protest. A whole lot of Nigerians were being killed. And who gave the directive for a policeman to shoot peaceful protesters, to maim their lives, is an injustice. And you can't be holding that kind of a position, and you won't be accountable for every excesses that is being done. Do well to subscribe more to Newsroom Nigeria so that you can get more of the news happening in diaspora and news in our local scene. Thank you.